All right, folks, welcome back to Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The answer.
Do you have the right to defend yourself outside the home? So Tom King from the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association suit of them versus Bruen is next.
Maybe.
We could talk about it anyway.
Oh. All right. Well, that sounds like a plan. But first, self-defense and emergencies can happen to anyone, and there's no guarantee that the justice system will be on your side. Make sure you are protected for the legal battle after your self-defense battle. While you protect your family and property, U.S. Law Shield is here to defend you 24/7, 365 days a year with a comprehensive self-defense coverage at an affordable price. Bad guys don't take days off, and neither does our coverage. Listeners, you can get a free T-shirt when you use the code Gun Owners Radio. Sign up today. Go to uslawshield.com. All right, so Tom has not called in yet.
You didn't call in? Well,
So Joe, what can you tell us?
I don't want to interrupt Michael. Go ahead, Michael. What were you going to say?
So New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, basically there was it was extremely difficult to transport a firearm in the state of New York. They had the Heller versus DC case in 2008, which affirmed that, yes, it is an individual right, so it's a civil right. But really it just ruled on your right to, there's two rights in the Second Amendment, your right to keep and your right to bear arms, so basically own and carry. And Heller versus DC weighed in on your right to keep because that's what it was all about, but it didn't really address carry. So that's what this case hopefully will do, is address your right to bear arms. It worked its way up to the Supreme Court, and there were actually a couple different iterations, I guess, and there were a couple of different cases. We actually had our own case out here, the Peruta case, which the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said that you don't have a right to bear arms. You don't. You basically what they said is you don't have a right to a CCW. So they kind of punted. They were in a tight spot. They didn't want to say, hey, you don't have a right to bear arms. So what they did is they said, you know what, you don't have a constitutionally protected right to be issued a CCW.
Yeah. What is this punting thing? I mean, if you worked for me and I said, Mike, I need you to do this project, and you just said, yeah, I just don't think I can do it. I'll just punt it down the road. How do we get? I don't understand how we get away with that.
Well, so the judges on the Ninth Circuit Court, the majority of them still are anti-gun. So it's not that they're anti-Second Amendment or whatever. They're anti-gun, meaning that they don't like you having the ability to own and carry a gun, and they want it severely restricted. So a case was put in front of them that was crystal clear. Sure. Basically saying, hey, look, if you can't carry open and you can't carry concealed, what do you do here? I mean, if it's illegal to open carry, and the only option you have is to get a CCW and carry concealed, then they have to issue those permits. Mm-hmm. It was a very, very clear question, and they kind of messed around and bobbed and weaved and decided, you know what, you don't have a constitutionally protected right to a CCW. So suddenly they became strict constructionists, I guess, and they said, well, it doesn't actually say CCW in the Constitution.
I've been waiting for that one.
So,
well, and again, but it does say bear arms, right? It says keep and bear arms. So what does bear arms mean?
You have to own a bear.
And the same thing. If you don't understand bear arms, then you certainly don't understand the shall not be infringed part either.
Well, I'm totally with you. Not only that, but I mean, if you compare that to other rights, the most famous and most controversial, of course, would be abortion. The Ninth Circuit Court agrees that you have the right to get an abortion. It doesn't say abortion anywhere in the Constitution. So it's totally hypocritical. You know what I mean? So, and the reason it's hypocritical and the reason they put on blinders and went down this very, very narrow road is because they knew they were wrong, number one, the judges. And number two, they were grasping, so they're trying anything in order to not have to say, hey, yeah, you have a right to bear arms. Therefore, CCWs have to.
But who's going to call them on it?
The Supreme Court. So
you think?
Well, so the Supreme Court, that's the next step. You go to court.
But if they don't want to hear it, They just go, it's been a bad day.
So they didn't want to hear that case, and there was another carry case
okay.
out of New York that they didn't want to hear. But what ended up happening is one of the reasons the Supreme Court takes a case is that there's a split. One district says yes, the other district says no. So part of the Peruta case,
and that does make them take it.
That's one of the reasons they have to take it. So I just heard that Tom King, the executive director from the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, is on. Tom, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we were setting some of the context for your case. Why don't you brief us on it? Tell us a little bit about the case that you're involved in.
Well, it started out that the county that I live in, there's a couple of judges who have a hard time giving pistol permits, never give concealed carry permits, and I received a bunch of complaints. So I brought it to the NRA. And we discussed it, and we decided it's a case to go along with, okay? This was about 4 years ago. It took that long to wind through the courts. And finally, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against us, and we applied for cert to the Supreme Court and had a lot of amicus briefs filed, and they took the case.
So
it
tell
was
us.
argued.
Tell us a little bit about what were the restrictions? If this was a New York State, right? Not the city, but the state?
No, New York State.
Okay, so New York State, what were the restrictions? It sounds like it wasn't direct carry. It wasn't a CCW thing. You weren't carrying for self-defense. It was a general transportation thing?
No. What this was is it was New York State, rather than a shell issue, has a may issue, is a may issue state, meaning that they can turn you down if they want to, if they feel that you don't have a good enough reason for having getting a pistol permit.
Okay, tell us what a pistol permit is.
A pistol permit is anything that you have to have. It's a permit that you have to have in New York State to own or possess a pistol.
Okay, all right, but it's not a carry permit. It doesn't allow you to carry the pistol loaded.
Well, it can be. Okay. And in many counties in the state, they're extremely easy to get. In some counties, it's 50-50 whether you'll get it. And in other counties, you just won't get it.
And if you don't have it, you can't own or carry?
You can't own or carry in New York State.
And if you do have it, you can definitely own, and you may or may not be able to carry?
Depending on whether the judge – see, the issuing officer in New York State, there's 62 issuing officers, okay, who someone in every county of New York State is an issuing officer. Most of the time it's judges, sometimes county clerks, sometimes it's sheriffs, okay? And depending on the politics of the county and the issuing officer, you may get a pistol permit that is restricted to sportsman's use, which means hunting, fishing, and hiking. Okay, or you can get a concealed carry permit, which allows you to carry it anytime, anywhere, with the exception of the 5 boroughs of New York City.
Did you say hiking?
Sure.
Okay.
Interesting.
That was just something that I threw in.
Oh.
Any outdoor activity.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't specifically say hiking.
Okay, gotcha.
Interesting. So if you just, I just want to recap. So because we're here in California and people are in other states, it works a little different. So if you want to purchase a firearm, if you want specifically a handgun, you have to go get this permit. Now, what's involved in getting the permit? Is there a test, or how do you get the permit?
No, there's no test. You have to take a safety course, which is about. It depends on county too. Somewhere between 3 and 4 hour course. Okay, and it's very rudimentary safety, and you can't handle the firearm. You can't shoot it during this course, and upon successfully passing the course, you put in the application for the permit. And the application is all your personal information, name, address, telephone number, social security number, and you have to supply 4 personal references that the state or the issuing officer's county will check up with every person that you put down as a personal reference. They will check that out to make sure that the person that you've is real, okay, and that he believes that you're capable of owning a firearm.
So part of it is they're registering you as a gun owner. Part of it is they're making you go through a proficiency test, and part of it is they're doing a background check.
Yes.
Okay.
But you can't do this in every county. So if I live in a county that won't allow me to get a permit or a gun, can I go to another county?
No, you have to get it in the county that you live in.
So I would have to move.
Well,
Yes.
similar to California and our CCWs.
With the CCWs.
Yeah, okay.
So if you went into a county that basically didn't issue, and you said, "Hey, I want to buy a handgun," and they were not motivated to issue you one, what would be their excuse?
They don't need one. They all they have to do is, and hence part of the reason for the lawsuit is they just said they will just say that you don't have a good reason to own a firearm or carry a firearm.
Interesting. How much does this whole process cost?
It's relatively cheap. Depending on how much you get charged to have your fingerprints taken, you have to submit some fingerprints, anywhere from $50 to $150.
Okay.
And it's a lifetime license.
All right, so you go into a county that generally will issue, and then even above and beyond that, they still may not issue. It can also act like a concealed carry weapons permit, and they may not give you that power. So they may say, all right, you can own the gun, but you can't carry it around concealed for protection, right?
Yes, that is true. And what it's called is a restricted and unrestricted license. Okay, and most of the counties have some degree of restriction or others. And in those counties, you can still get a concealed carry permit if they deem your reasons for wanting it reach the standards that they've set. By the way, they don't tell you what the standards are.
All right, we're gonna hold them over. We're gonna talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is way too important. I thought California was bad. Hey, does selling your home feel overwhelming? Well, it doesn't have to be that way. But Scott Vinson from Coldwell Bankers Royal Realty, Scott Vinson is the perfect guide to help you sell or buy your home. Scott has also been a San Diego County Gun Owner board member from the very beginning. So if you're moving, let fellow Second Amendment supporter and real estate broker Scott Vinson help you sell your home and find you a new home anywhere in the United States. Call him today at 619-948-2459. Tell him you heard about him on Gun Owners Radio. That's Scott at 619-948-2459. Or you can go online to scottvinson.com, and that's VINSON.
Cool. All right, we're talking to Tom King. He is the executive director for the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. Hey, we were just talking about your case, your carry case, and we were talking about the difficulties that are presented to New Yorkers when they're trying to own or carry a firearm. But let's talk about your organization a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association.
Well, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association was founded in 1871 by a group of Union officers, two generals and a colonel. And the reason that they formed the association, initially it was a competition in shooting organization, was that right after the Civil War, they were so disgusted with the quality of the American marksmen that they decided to set up an organization that would teach the people how to shoot.
That sounds really, really close to the NRA. Were these the same guys that started the NRA as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I say 1971 for forming? We were formed in 1871.
1871.
Yeah.
1871. Okay.
Which I think was the same year as NRA. Was it the same?
9 months before.
9 months before. Was it the same guys or no?
Same guys.
Same guys that set up the NRA, set up the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. Awesome.
Yep.
And so you guys fight for the Second Amendment on the state and local level. Is that the idea?
Yep, we do. We run junior programs, shooting all the shooting disciplines. We have state championships. We send teams to the national championships. We're pretty much all involved with the shooting sports in New York State.
Very cool.
Yeah, and as bad as it seems, upstate New York is typically much better than everything that you hear about in downstate. The pistol permit process is still onerous. It's not as bad as New York City's, but it's still onerous. And we do what we can. Okay. I also serve on the NRA Board of Directors.
Very cool.
And and it's we work hand in hand with them day in, day out. And they're a big supporter of our Second Amendment case. They've been behind us right from the very beginning, and frankly, we couldn't have gotten where we are without the NRA.
That's excellent. Really appreciate that. So where are we currently with the case? The arguments were heard a couple months ago. Give us a little briefing on the status of the lawsuit.
I don't know. And the reason I say that is nobody knows, because after the arguments are made, you can't submit anything else. You can't take anything else out of the argument. It goes to the Supreme Court. They do their magic on it, look at all the amicus briefs, check the laws that are cited and everything. And they don't release any news. We will not hear word one about it until the decision comes down, which we're thinking is going to be somewhere from the middle of May to the middle of June, somewhere in that area.
But it was the arguments were heard in front of the 9 justices 2 months ago, right?
Yes.
And
right.
Is the head attorney is it Paul Clement?
Paul Clement.
Okay, Paul Clement.
Yeah.
And
Paul is a former Solicitor General of the United States under Bush, and a great attorney. He's argued many cases in the Second Amendment, and he did a really good job on arguing this.
Yeah, he's huge. He's as big as it gets.
Yep.
So how do you feel the arguments? How do you feel the justices responded? Was there anything in particular that stuck out to you?
Well, there was one question when the Attorney General lawyer was attempting to make a statement and justify what they called sensitive areas, that maybe you shouldn't be able to carry a pistol in, a concealed pistol in. And they were saying that New York City was one of those. And Roberts asked the question. And she went on to say that she could understand why people who were out hiking or fishing in the wilds of upstate New York would want to have a pistol with them. And Roberts asked her, so you're telling me that more people are mugged and attacked in the outdoors in upstate New York than there are in New York City?
Yeah, I liked that a lot. What was the reaction?
That was the reaction. Didn't say a word. Didn't have an answer for it.
Well, we're pretty proud. We're here in San Diego, and San Diego was talked about as an example of a successful. We were basically not issuing, and now we're just short of shall issue, and we were held up during the arguments as a success story, which we're very, very proud of that.
Absolutely, I remember reading that. I've read through almost all of the amicus briefs, and that was mentioned in it, and I do remember the comment about San Diego. That's great, and that's the way it will be all over. Anywhere that in the United States that the laws have been loosened and the lawful citizen of this country has been given the right to carry a permit, crime is dropped, and a violent crime, gun crime, it's become a safer place to live. But that's something that the anti-gunners just will not acknowledge and try to say just the opposite. I don't know how many times it's been said to me, what do you want? You want this to be a cowboy town, blood running in the streets, like the OK Corral, and that just doesn't happen. It's been proven time and time again.
Yeah, so out here the law didn't actually change. It was the NRA, and Paul Clement was a part of this case as well. NRA sued the sheriff because it was entirely up to him as far as issuing. The Ninth Circuit ruled in the sheriff's favor and said, nope, we're not going to compel him to issue CCWs. But it was our group, San Diego County Gun Owners, who put a ton of political pressure on him, and he started to issue, and now they're very proud of their CCW program. They're actually really proud of it, and they're pumping out maybe 200 a month now. And generally, if you pass the background check, if you pay the fee, you fill out the application, generally you're going to get a CCW. Now you still have to write good cause, but he's basically spelled out this is what we're looking for when it comes to good cause, and it really nobody falls short. So it's been very successful.
That's really great. In our lawsuit, if we're successful at it, and the Supreme Court ruled that way, the need for good cause is going to be done away with. If you're not otherwise prohibited, the court may very well say that the Second Amendment rights guarantees you the right to carry a pistol concealed to protect yourself.
So let's talk about that. What do you? Because I get this question a lot. Well, what's it going to do? What's going to happen? What would you say, Tom? Do you think the best case scenario is that they get rid of the good cause requirement? Everything else stays. You got to pay the fee. You got to go through the background check. Got to go through the class. But they just get rid of that good cause requirement. You think that's the most likely?
Yeah. Or? Well, I don't think they'll get away from the the requirement for a pistol permit and all that, because it was either Heller or McDonald. I don't remember which one for sure right now, but it gave the states the permission to set up some kind of a regulation to control that. Okay, but they didn't go far enough on it, and that's what our lawsuit. That's what we're hoping our lawsuit is going to do. It's going to, besides saying that you have. I'm sorry. We're at a little party at my house.
Little football party. No, that's okay. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, and we're hoping that they're going to do a couple of things. One, do away with the need cause, and say that anybody who is a lawful citizen and not otherwise prohibited by law, from having a criminal background or whatever, okay, you'll be able to get a concealed carry permit. And we're also hoping that they're going to change the method that they look at this on, the scrutiny levels that they use. Most Second Amendment cases are looked at with intermediate scrutiny. All other civil rights are looked at with strict scrutiny. And we're hoping that they made comments about that in the the Heller decision, and we're hoping that they're going to demand that that's how Second Amendment cases are looked at from now on.
Now, what will that do if you're in our audience and you don't know what that means? You don't know what strict scrutiny means. How would you describe that change in how the justices analyze these cases?
In intermediate scrutiny, the states or the municipalities have the ability to argue that the common good or the common safety is reason for limiting a constitutional right. Strict scrutiny says, you can't do it.
So it basically kind of gets rid of that, think of the children, that whole,
right.
kind of gets rid of that emotional, well, gee, golly gosh, people, I get you. So do you think that so we're not going to get open carry? I know a number of people are wondering.
No, that's not going to happen.
Not even an option. And that makes sense. It's not a part of the case. Not even being entertained. The most likely.
Not with this lawsuit.
Not with this lawsuit. The most likely scenario is just getting rid of the good cause requirement. The 13 sentences we have to write to the sheriff that explains, why we might be in danger of being attacked. That'll go away.
Sure.
Everything else will stay in place.
Yes. As far as I know, it depends on you just don't know how you don't know how they're going to rule. I mean, they may do a really wide decision that says, all that stuff has to go away, but you don't know. Okay, and
right.
It's second guessing the Supreme Court is near impossible.
Well, how can people support? If people are listening and they think, man, this is great, I want to give $10, where do they go?
Well, you can go to our website. www.nysrpa.org. www.nysrpa.org. And there's a button on there you can press to make a donation. And may I do an unabashed commercial?
Quickly,
For
sure.
myself?
Very quick.
Okay, I'm running for re-election to the NRA Board of Directors this year. The ballots are going to be in the magazines as usual. Please vote for me. I need your support.
Tom King, Executive Director, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. Thank you for joining us.
All right, folks.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.